Hi, I'm Stephanie Starr. Welcome to the latest edition of the Basement Tapes. Here's what we've got for you on tape number 12. Steve Baker and lots more of you requested ACE information. Others, like Michael Pallone and Stephen Chase, wanted alpha. Here, you will see Matt Kochan address both issues with his ACE alpha presentation. Keep in mind while you're watching Matt that his presentation will be our first crack at this. On future tapes, you'll see more. If after viewing Matt, you feel that your questions weren't answered, send us mail at the Basement Tapes with what it is specifically that you'd like to see covered. We don't know unless you tell us. Monty O'Kelly and Stevenson Massey requested more competitive information, and Don Ricchetti is back. Don will give you the complete competitive pitch on the upcoming announcement December 3rd. At the end of his piece, we'll tell you how to access his online presentation. You asked for more operating system information, and we've got that too. Joe Menard is here to give you the lowdown on NT, OSF, ODT, Unix, Ultrix, and how they all fit together. Once again, this will be the first in a series. Greg Sorensen in Detroit, Michigan asked for more new product information. The Basement Tapes heard you, Greg. We've gone back to Don Gaubatz's office for a tour of the following products to be announced in San Francisco on December 3rd. Don will show us the DeckStation 5000, Model 20 and 25, known as Maxine, the DeckStation 5000 Model 200, or the 3 Max Plus, the Turbo Channel Expander Box, and finally the Deck System Server 5900, or Big Max. Frank Kettenstock, who you will remember from past tapes, and we refer to lovingly as Dr. Frank, will talk to you about Sun Solaris and what to do when you encounter it in your accounts. I'd like to thank those of you who took a few minutes out of your busy selling schedules to fill these out and return them to us here at the Basement Tape headquarters. In closing, I'd like to congratulate Frederick Avolio, who was recently promoted. His new title, as it clearly appears on this survey, is Dynamite Sharp Dude. Hey Fred, Sally Ann mentioned to us that you have some footage. So where is it? In Fiji, where Alan Williamson and his 8 co-workers sit, there is no electronic mail, and there are no DTNs, but there are the Basement Tapes. Fiji, it was great to hear from you. This tape is for you. It is a little scary, though, that your image of reality is based solely on the Basement Tapes. Alan, is all that sun getting to you? Again, thank you for sending back your surveys. Your feedback was great. Remember, we provide this service for you. If you don't tell us what it is that you want to see or don't want to see on upcoming tapes, we won't know. We're extremely sharp and we're very, very creative, but our crystal balls have expired. Enjoy the tape.
Hi, I'm Matt Kochan. I'm the group manager responsible for Unix-based software and systems, marketing and planning. I'm here today to talk to you about a very important topic, the positioning of ACE and alpha. Before I actually jump into the positioning of ACE and alpha, let me just say why this topic is so important. There's an awful lot of poison in the system, and the poison is coming from our competitors. They are saying to our customer base that digital is moving away from ACE, and alpha is really the strategic platform of choice. And there's a lot of confusion right now going on, some tidbits that are half-truths that substantiate that. MIPS is in financial trouble. There was articles in Business Week about that. That's not true. R4000 has problems. It does, but they've been all corrected. Alpha is far superior performance. Why go to ACE? Some of that's also true. The bottom line is that these half-truths are causing lots of confusion around ACE and around alpha. And I'm here today to try and clear up that confusion. I can tell you that digital is totally committed to both ACE and to both alpha. They're both very important. Before I actually jump into a couple overheads that I'll be using, I want to steal some lines from Ken Olson. And he talked about this topic at the stockholders meeting a couple of weeks ago. Ken said that digital is in 4 businesses: services, systems integration, and 2 product businesses. He labeled one product business as standardized computers, and he labeled the other business as computers based on standards. And that was a nice positioning because there's different buying behaviors, different markets, and different strategies for both. ACE fits into the standardized computers business, and alpha fits into the computers based on standards business. Now let me go into a little more further positioning of ACE and alpha. And I want to make a reference right now that there is a 20 to 25 overhead presentation with script. And at the end of the tape, there will be a way of how you can actually get this presentation. I've selected 4 overheads from it to walk you through the positioning. But if you want the complete presentation, I encourage you to send away for it. Now, I assume that before you jump into an ACE alpha positioning with a customer, that you would have first talked about ACE or alpha or both, and using the standard non-disclosure presentations that we have available. ACE is focused on price leadership. With all the companies participating in ACE, they'll be driving the price down, down, down. Alpha, on the other hand, is focused on technology leadership in the area of performance. So right away, that's price and performance. With ACE, it's an initiative by over 200 companies in less than 200 days that are going to deliver a common computing environment. On the other hand, alpha is a program to deliver complete enterprise strength open computing system, and it's being done by digital. ACE expands and integrates PC and Unix RISC style of computing to bring the best of what PCs have, which are applications, to the best of what Unix RISC has, which is performance, and bring those together. On the other hand, alpha builds and extends on the VAX style of computing. There are almost 10 million VAX VMS users out there, almost 500,000 VAX systems. Those people want and need RISC performance, and alpha has been tuned and designed for the VMS users. Third point is provides a growth path. ACE provides a growth path to RISC performance from PCs. There's a lot of power PC users out there that need the increased RISC performance, especially when we get into multimedia applications, imaging applications. On the other hand, alpha provides a growth path to leadership RISC performance from VAX CISC performance. ACE stimulates Unix applications from many vendors, and it's a Unix that's based on OSF. And alpha integrates tailorable applications for the most demanding applications, and it's also based on OSF. The key to both ACE and alpha is the software. Digital's Unix strategy is very clear, and it's been the same strategy now for the last 2 years. It's based on OSF technology. And we will have source compatibility across all our OSF systems. ACE will deliver price leadership Unix computing. Alpha will deliver industry-leading Unix performance. So again, the price versus performance leadership. We have ACE-compatible Unix systems shipping right now. In fact, on December 3rd in the US and around the world, we'll be announcing a new lineup of ACE-compatible systems. And alpha Unix systems will be available second half of 1992. The key to bringing both ACE and alpha together is in the software. And this is the OSF positioning. Through ACE, OSF will be running on Intel and MIPS platforms. And we also announced that OSF will be running on the Alpha platform. So we will have, somewhat like we had in the 1980s, from the desktop to the data center, same software running across the whole spectrum. 1990s, the world changed somewhat. A lot of x86 systems out there. There are going to be a lot of MIPS RISC systems out there and a lot of Alpha systems out there. And guess what? They're all going to run the same software across the whole spectrum. And over time, x86 platforms will be going lower in price as well as up in performance. The same thing with MIPS. These 200 companies will be driving that price down. And there'll be some who will be moving up the performance. And the same is true with Alpha. Alpha will be coming down in price and also up in performance. This is probably the key slide that summarizes the ACE alpha positioning. How do they work together is through digital's distributed computing strategy. There's 5 points here. The first is open architectures. The user interfaces, the networks, and the application programming interfaces, the APIs, will be the same between ACE and between alpha. Through NAS integration, we're able to kind of raise the playing field away from the platform and away from the kernel to a higher level, a level that ISVs and customers want, to be able to write to these application programming interfaces, and the applications will run either on an alpha system or an ACE system. There is shared common information so that through a network, whether it's an ACE system or an alpha system or an x86 system, users can share information and data across the network. Both ACE and alpha follow the Open Advantage campaign and practice open business practices. There are standards, international open standards that both are following. The licensing and the partnerships for both ACE and alpha are growing, and that'll continue. And finally, one of the most important things is our whole services strategy, which is a very open services strategy. Digital today services 15,000 products from 900 different companies. A very open approach. In fact, just to give you a little tidbit, in the last 2 months, the digital service contracts on Sun workstations has tripled. We now service 6,000 Sun workstations. Very open strategy. We'll be able to provide our customers multi-vendor, total flexibility, and total single source accountability. So if a customer today encounters a problem, first, is it hardware, is it software, which vendor? It doesn't matter. If you have a service contract from digital, we'll take care of your service needs. So that is the ACE alpha positioning. I hope this is helpful for you. If you have any questions at all, you can please direct them to myself. And my DTM will be published, I hope, here at 223-6450. Good selling.
Hi, good to see you again. I wanted to take this opportunity to give you a bit of a preview of the kind of products that we're going to be announcing in California on December the 3rd. The first product is the DECstation 5000 Model 20 and 25. You've heard of this product probably internally as Maxine. We're very proud of this little thing. It's the attack vehicle at the entry level for the DECstation 5000 line. It is the lowest priced workstation, which is totally upgradable, totally expandable, beyond comparison with any other workstation in its price class. Let's take a look inside the box right now. Here's the box. We take the top off, put the top over here, and what you notice is the same memory cards which we used in the DECstation 3100. These memory cards expanded up to a total of 40 megabytes. If you take all the memory cards out, the base system itself includes fully 8 megabytes. So you have a very low price, minimally configured system with 8 megabytes of memory on the base system board. Moving over here, we have, as you saw it in the 3-min, the DECstation 5000 models 120 and 125, the CPU upgrade feature. This is the only workstation in this price class with an upgradable CPU. This gives an investment protection message which is unparalleled by anyone else. Moving over here, we have not one, but fully 2 turbo channel slots of expansion. This again is a feature which is not at all found in a unit of this price class. In addition to having these full 2 turbo channel slots of expansion, we already have, as we see over here, an 8-plane color video system integrated on the motherboard. In addition to having 8 megabytes of system memory on the board, it also has a full 8-plane color graphics controller on the board which will allow you to have a full system without any turbo channel cards at all. If you do want to upgrade the capability of the system to include 3D, you can use, for example, the turbo channel PXG card, which fits into the Maxine in the 2 turbo channel slots and will be an absolutely devastating competitor for anyone who needs full 3D in an entry-level system. Let's take a peek down here at the side. We've got the RGB for the integrated video, which means you get full video without putting anything in the turbo channel slots, the sync asynchronous COM, the keyboard and mouse connectors, the Ethernet connector, and the external SCSI connector. In addition to having the SCSI to go to external devices, there is enough internal storage, fixed and removable, to have a total system solution in the package on the desktop. Here we have, looking at the 3.5-inch fixed position, one 3.5-inch fixed disk, and as these disks increase in megabyte capacity, they can be upgraded. And we also have the 3.5-inch floppy for removable media. This is the only system anywhere near this price range which has complete in one package, a complete system already on the base motherboard with 2 turbo channel expander slots, and also having the CPU upgradable feature. We think that you will get the same response that we have had when we've showed this to customers. They simply can't believe all this value anywhere near this price point. Now let's look to our next box. We announced the DeckStation 5000 Model 200 in April of 1990. At that time, it was the best balanced, the highest performance, and it was a system with the best I/O of any workstation in any class. Now we are upgrading that system in a number of ways. Let me show you the inside of the box. We still have, as we had before, space for 120, if not 480 megabytes of memory, complete on the desktop. That's what all those holes are for. In addition, you will notice that we have a CPU upgrade possibility also on this product. When the DeckStation 5000 Model 200 came out, the CPU was on the baseboard and there was no upgrade. With this product, we'll be able to upgrade the CPUs. In addition, we have the 3 turbo channel slots just like we had before. And the other thing I'd like to call your attention to, strangely enough, is all the free space on a motherboard. We are serious about staying in this business, about lowering our costs, and about making the systems even more reliable and more compact by the use of very modern LSI. To refresh your memory, if you look at this photograph I have here of the DeckStation 5000, we had the same memory, the 3 turbo channel slots, but we had all these programmable logic devices which consumed the space, consumed the power, and eventually got us in time to market. But now we've taken those off and put them into these VLSI packages right here. Your customers will understand completely the message inherent in the amount of VLSI that Digital has done to execute the DeckStation 5000 Model 240. More VLSI means lower costs, more reliable functioning, quicker time to manufacture, and it actually even means, in this case, a cooler product because there's less integrated circuitry in the system to cool. We have another box, the same size as the DeckStation 5000 Model 200 and now the 240, which contains 3 complete physical slots to extend the turbo channel. If you would have had a PXG turbo option, which would have used the entire 3 slots, 1, 2, 3, and you put it in the previous platform, you would have been out of slots. Now you can put this option in the turbo channel expander box, and you still have 2 more slots available over here in the DeckStation 5000 Model 240. In addition to removing that turbo channel card over to the expander box, we have space for 2 3.5-inch fixed drives plus 1 either 5.25 or 3.5-inch removable drive. These 2 boxes sit on top of each other, and the turbo channel is electrically extended with this cable, which goes from the system down to the expander box. This gives a combination of expandability for turbo channel slots, for fixed storage, and for removable storage via the external SCSI connection that should solve absolutely all of your expandability problems. For our next tour through the new turbo channel products, the new deck station and deck system products, we have to go to the basement of the mill. We're going to talk about the deck system 5900, alias Big Max. It's a very large system. It holds a lot of storage. It holds a lot of features. We're going to go down in the basement of the mill and show you that now. Welcome to your first view of the deck system 5900. This is a deck system 5900. It just doesn't happen to be in the basement right now. We found a place a little more inhabitable to give you this tour. It's a 4-standing server. This is the corporate cab. I'm going to open the front. We'll take a quick look at what's in the box. The CPU drawer is right here. It moves out for service and maintenance or upgrading the turbo channel options that are installed within the CPU drawer. There are, in addition to the CPU, 1, 2, 3, 4 areas for storage drawers. The storage drawers also pull out on slides for upgrading the storage, removing the storage, or doing any other routine maintenance. Let's take a look over here at what's inside the CPU box. We'll open this assembly here and look down into the box where we see the deck system 5900 motherboard. We have memory here for a total of 448 megabytes, and this would also include the PrestoServe memory, which fits in one of these slots. In addition to the memory, we have the CPU daughter card. Notice that the daughter card is removable for future upgrading of the CPU part of the system. There are 3 turbo channel slots on the motherboard with all the onboard I/O that we've talked about before. We'll close the top now, and we'll look at the back. Contained inside the CPU drawer is the turbo channel expander card, which would allow you, for example, to put the CI interface within the CPU drawer. The CI interface would allow you to connect to a CI system, which would give you up to 96 physical devices for a total of 144 total gigabytes of storage connected to the CI interface. Now let's take one more look at the CPU system right here. Right here is the fan, which pulls air past the power supply, which is also integral in the system, and it moves up to this plenum mechanism, which puts the air at the right place to keep the system cool and to keep the reliability high. The engineering has paid serious attention to the thermal details of the system. Now that we understand what's in the CPU drawer, let's look at what's inside the storage drawer. We open the top, and there's fully 7 full 5¼ inch full height storage areas. These 2 areas here could be dedicated to removable media. This is a full height removable media bay, and this is a 2 half heights or 1 full height removable media bay. What we have in here right now is a removable mechanism for RDAT. There can be fully 4 of these drawers, so you get 7 times 4 or 28 SCSI drives, which are included into the system. Each SCSI drawer contains its own power within the system. I'll close the door right here. The deck system 5900 will be announced at the December 3rd announcement in California. It's a full power system, and it will be able to complete the deck system server line at this time. Maybe next time we'll actually take you to the basement.
In summary, the new digital workstation will provide for us a low-cost, high-value product which will extend the investment protection for our customer base, expand their market, and now set new benchmarks for the competitors to try and match.
We're excited in Australia and our marketplace because of what this product does in terms of the sorts of systems we can build for our customers.
Products are exciting because of the applications that are available on those workstations, the size of the footprint of the products, how far you can really take the products, and then when you can't take them anymore, you can expand them. So that's really exciting. The users, it's very user-friendly, so the users don't really have to know all about the operating system and everything. The applications that are there are going to help that customer use that product better.
I think it's a workstation of the future because it provides an entree into the ACE environment. It's going to be an ACE-compliant workstation so that customers can feel confident in the future of this technology, knowing that it's going to play in the ACE product set.
Well, I think it's good news because there's a very large digital customer base out there, and there's a pent-up demand for high-performance workstations at a moderate to low price range, and that's what this is. It's a high-performance machine at a very attractive, very low price range, and that's exciting.
To me, the most exciting thing about it was bringing enormous graphical application power at low cost onto a commercial desktop. Today, that's only available typically in the PC environment, and it doesn't have, the PC environments today don't have the richness, the application potentiality richness that this particular announcement includes, particularly when you tie the DEC station to the DEC system.
The good news we heard today is the fact that we're going to have an affordable, low-end desktop machine for software developers.
I think there are a lot of technical advantages. The balanced design of these systems, the upgradability of the systems, and the potential for integrated multimedia capabilities is very exciting.
Probably one of the most important things I heard in the presentation day in regards to our business, and particularly at Oracle Corporation, is the fact that we're emphasizing in our applications the client-server marketplace. We've got a lot of applications today that run on VAXes and in more of a standalone mode, and with a machine like this at that kind of price performance, the ability to be able to bring those applications or offload as people distribute, downsize, and to be able to put that type of machine on every single desktop, accessing through the network to the Oracle database or application on the VAX is going to really excite our customer base. Typically, it's not necessarily the size of the box, it's more the price performance. What's so exciting about this box is that, in essence, you're getting what you typically get in a box, very large size, that sits in a computer room, that you're getting on the desktop with the amount of memory, disk, graphics, all these capabilities into one box the size of a shoebox on your desktop is going to be pretty exciting for our customer base.
Upgradability is a key issue here, and obviously with the removable CPU board, etc., that's a real plus, a real bonus.
I think it's going to be an important product for us because it's the lowest price Unix workstation, and it gives people a good reason to move from PC environments to a much more powerful multi-user environment, and still supports the ability to run their existing PC applications. So it opens the market for us at the low end.
With technology moving as fast as it is for all of us, it certainly meets and exceeds what most other vendors have in the marketplace today. And with digital's, so the size of digital and digital's reputation, I don't think DEC has to be the fastest on any given moment. So it's a very, very solid product that is going to be able to be marketed in a wide variety of applications and markets.
Exciting news about these DEC workstations is where our customers can use them, and also where our VARs can use them. Our VARs can now compete in situations, because of the price performance points of these boxes, in sales situations where before they couldn't. The flexibility of these systems, where particularly with the soft PC functionality, where an end user can have both the desktop capabilities of a PC along with the performance of a workstation, all in one system, is a very strong selling feature. We'll be able to, I think, penetrate a lot more markets through our value-added channel. Plus, we'll be able to allow our end users, our customers, to set up a developer's environment where they can make their application development people significantly more productive with this kind of a system.
Yes, we're excited about the products because of the future upgrade path of the hardware and the software, and it gives, again, the driving, I think, thrust is price performance, and that's what the market is about today, and who's going to get ahead of who else, and this really is a very exciting announcement from that perspective, again, because of the the interchangeability of the processors and the future products, not only the ones that were announced or are going to be announced, but the ones that are coming mid next year as well.
We're excited because the product is great, no doubt, from what we saw yesterday. But at the same time, I think our success depends a lot on the enthusiasm of our people. And this is the type of product that makes you feel enthusiastic.
I think the news we heard yesterday about Digital's products in the Unix workstation business is of particular relevance to us in the lower end, in the Maxine space. I think we will be able to use Maxine to enter organizations that we haven't been able to enter before. We'll be able to use it as the thin end of the wedge under the door to expand our influence within that account. It's very exciting to me because I think we can change the rules by providing a really powerful workstation at a PC price for the really enthusiastic turbo-powered PC user.
We're very excited about this. We got started with digital a number of years ago, and particularly with the microvacs too. That was very exciting. We've been able to help our customers in the VMS environment through the years, been able to help them more recently in the PC environment. But Wiley is also a solution provider where we haven't been successful is in the workstations and particularly against Sun. We go up against Sun and haven't been as successful. This particular product I think will be the Sun killer, and we've been looking for something like this. Now we got it. Now we're going to have some fun.
Hi, I'm Ricchetti. I was asked to talk to you today about the competitive positioning for our new deck stations that are being announced publicly in December 3rd. We're having a press and analyst briefing this week, November 20th and 22nd. And I'm with the USS, Unix Systems and Software Group, in the workstation-based product marketing. I do market analysis and competitive analysis. The first product we're going to talk about is the personal deck station, codenamed the Maxine. And this is the 5000, 20, and 25 system. The major competitive points here are that it's the lowest priced RISC workstation, and it's the lowest priced color RISC workstation. It has the fastest open bus, the turbo channel bus, beats the EISA, extended industry standard that HP uses, and PCs use for an open bus, and also beats MCA performance. The S-Bus is rated at 100 megabytes per second, but doesn't really achieve that speed. And even in this version of the turbo channel, we feel we beat their throughput. It's the best value in 3D graphics when you add a PXG or PXG Plus board in it. And it offers great expandability for multimedia. And it is the only one in this price range provides investment protection with the upgradable daughter card. Particularly, as part of this announcement, we're announcing that these daughter cards will be upgraded to the R4000 microprocessor, and that's a great advantage for future preservation and future performance for the systems. Some specific points about the personal deck station against the competition versus the ELC. The ELC is a mono-only system. It has no expansion bus and no graphics capability, so it's a very limited system. A lot of people position the ELC as really somewhere in between an X station and a graphic workstation, not really a complete workstation. The ELC is really the only product that's down in the price range of the personal deck station. HP and IBM both don't have products under $11,000, although we expect them to announce something early in the year. The HP 710, otherwise known as a Bushmaster, and a low-end IBM system. But these will probably come in about $7,000 or $8,000, so we still have a lower price point, although they may have some better price performance at those, and that's yet to be seen. But we have definitely an advantage, a window of opportunity here that we can get in with the personal deck station. And at those low prices, it acts as a great wedge to get into accounts and position a lot of seats at low prices and then sell the rest of the deck station line. The Iris Indigo from Silicon Graphics is another system that's had a lot of good press and good acceptance that they announced in July. That system, though, is quite limited for graphics capability. It's only an 8-bit system, and they do dithering from 24-bit graphics software to 8-bit display, but it isn't like getting 24-bit true color, and you have no geometry accelerator. So if you're doing graphics with it, you eat up some of the CPU performance to do that. And in the personal deck station, we can offer a true 24-bit geometry accelerator-based 3D graphics. Oh, the last point here is that versus the IBM RS 6320, we can offer the same integer performance that they're offering with the personal deck station. And integer performance, particularly the spec integer number, is a good indicator of commercial and desktop performance. Here's some specifics of positioning the personal DEC against the SGI Indigo system. When they announced it, they called it a RISC personal computer. It really isn't very much of a personal computer at an $8,000 price range for entry, but it is a well-priced graphics workstation, and the capability that they offer in software is a nice advantage. They have good price performance, but you can see that our advantages are our entry price, the fact that we offer grayscale as an entry where they start off with color, and that we have accelerated 2D and 3D performance rather than using the CPU to do that. We also have a wide range of applications, particularly at the low end on the desktop, where SGI is still working on developing a portfolio there. A couple of good quotes for the personal workstation. First of all, against IBM, they did come out publicly and announce several times that they've delayed their low-end entry system. It was originally supposed to be earlier this summer, then August, then October, and now they delayed it till next year. So we can create a lot of concern there in customers' parts about how IBM will keep competing at the low end. Another message here was from Vicki Brown at IDC. She says that the entry cost and price performance are far more critical factors than raw CPU speed in workstation buying process. And I'd like to emphasize that particularly the entry cost I see come up in more studies as being a major criteria, and that's where the personal DEC really wins, being the lowest cost system. And this also holds true into the rest of our line, that we offer very competitive price performance and low entry costs for particular features and functionality such as 3D, whereas we may not offer the high-end raw CPU speeds of HP or IBM's line, but we can satisfy many more of the customers with what we offer. This slide shows a proof of the lowest cost system, and here I'm showing the Sun ELC and the Sun IPC. The Sun IPC has some special pricing through the end of December, but we're not sure what Sun's going to do with that. They may permanently lower the price of the IPC and keep that to have a low-cost color entry system. Their next step up from there is the IPX, which has been a higher performing system and demands a higher cost for color system. The ELC, again, is mono only. The SGI Indigo is SGI's lowest cost system, and as I was saying before, they have a higher cost to get into a workstation at all. HP has their 700 series, which only go down to about $11,000. They have to go to the 400 series to bid a lower price system. The 425E is their lowest cost practical workstation. That's something that they're still pushing right now. That's about $7,000 for a grayscale system. And in the 400 series, that's a 68,000 base processor. They don't offer the same price performance to be competitive with the rest of the RISC workstations. I also show here a couple other CISC workstations. I'm saying that we're the lowest cost RISC workstation because the next station and some of the Intel-based PCs are CISC workstations that offer lower cost, but they don't offer the price performance again. And they don't offer the expandability or the upgradability that the personal DEC offers either. This is a chart to demonstrate the completeness of the personal DEC, and we're emphasizing this in a lot of our line with the new DEC announcement. The systems are very complete in what they offer, very expandable, and much better utility than a lot of competitor systems. Here you can see a checklist of the features of the personal DEC, and we offer these things either included in the system or as an option, and you can see how the competitors stack up against that. The Sun ELC really takes a beating here. They don't have the expandability of the features at all. The IPC is probably the next closest competitor, but again, they don't have a CPU daughter card that they can upgrade with. They aren't offering the FDDI or full motion video. The Sun Pix option just does frame captures and doesn't do true full motion video. Comparing the personal DEC to personal computers, there's a few points to be aware of. We aren't really positioning it as a replacement for personal computers, just as an alternative in a buying choice. The people have been buying PCs for particular applications and for DOS or MS Windows, will probably want to stay in that environment. This is an alternative for the people that are looking for more and want to move into a Unix workstation. They can run their applications under soft PC. And we have a really good portfolio with applications that have been ported over native to Unix to run on personal DECstation. With this low entry price for a Unix RISC workstation, it really gives us that wedge into running a new set of applications in the accounts, and we expect to get many more applications ported over with that low price point. What we offer as advantages are the networking, multitasking, operating system in Unix as opposed to what you can get with Microsoft today. The higher performance, better price performance, higher graphics expandability into high resolution displays and geometry accelerators for 2D and 3D acceleration. The competition here for PCs are mainly Intel 486 based machines at 33 megahertz processor speed, and we expect soon some 50 megahertz version systems to be out on the streets. IBM, Compaq, Dell, AST, ALR, HP, and DEC as well offer PCs that are in this class. And we're showing down the bottom here a couple of competitors, and we also show for positioning the DEC PC 433W, which is 486, 33 megahertz system, and really has a lot of the features, the networking and the high resolution display that workstations have. So it's a viable alternative. And you can see for pricing that if you try to price the same system, that's a more expensive system, but a lot of people that run that system with Microsoft don't need to have 8 megabytes or 16 megabytes, don't need the large disk, and they'll get away with a different configuration where they're trying to make a trade-off. So it's a very personal trade-off for customers and what they're trying to do. Again, another point about the PC comparison is that with the personal DECstation, we offer a distributed multimedia environment. It's a very sophisticated form of multimedia compared to what you'd get with a NextStation or an Apple system for multimedia. Distributed means that it's, you know, a complete client-server system across the network. So for networking demands, high-resolution display, the fast throughput disks, higher floating point performance, the personal DECstation has advantages over a personal computer. Okay, next I'm going to talk about the other two main workstations that we're announcing, the 5133 and the 5240. The 133 is a 33 megahertz daughter card version of the 100 series, the 120 and 125 that were previously announced. The main positioning with the 133 is that it's a real good value for 2D graphics. Against the Sun IPX and the Spark Station 2, they're higher priced systems and they have lower performance than the 133. This is a really good performing system, and as you know, the IPX and the Spark Station 2 are real volume systems out there, so this is a real strong positioning for the 133. The HX graphics accelerator that we have on the 133 will outperform even Sun's new GX Plus that they are offering. They have the same resolution and refresh rate, but in terms of 2D vectors per second or 3D vectors or 3D polygons, we can outperform them. So we think that's a real strong positioning with the 133. The IBM 320 is priced higher, and it has less integer performance than the 133. That's a key point because, as you know, as most people have heard in the industry, the overall spec mark rating has really been skewed, particularly by IBM's benchmarking. They broke that one of the 10 tests, the Matrix 300, and that really throws their overall number off. So spec integer, which is the average of just the integer test, is the most important thing to use for comparing performance. The way I like to look at IBM, particularly here at the low end, is you're really forced to pay for extra floating point performance that most applications don't use. If you're using that floating point performance, then we offer some other solutions. We can offer add-on vector processor, and overall, I think we offer a better solution for the majority of people and better price performance there. We can also beat IBM's 3D performance. IBM announced some new graphics, GT3, GT4, GT4X, but in those graphics they really announced some peak numbers. They didn't announce, do a full disclosure graphics performance. From what we can see from those, we think we're going to come out ahead, and we're a little bit better priced than they are, although they're being very well positioned in terms of optionability with those graphics and pricing with the GT graphics. Their older GTO graphics are really expensive for the performance. SGI Indigo doesn't have the open bus, and they don't have true 24-bit color as we talked about against the personal DEC station. They don't have the geometry accelerator for 3D graphics. They'll probably fix this. We haven't heard anything about when or where, but they have a GIO bus, graphics interconnect bus on their system, and they say they're going to offer cards that'll adapt out to an open bus. So they'll offer some other bus, and we expect they'll offer some graphics, geometry accelerator type boards for that system. But right now, they're really boxed in that they don't have that expandability. And with the 133, we've got a great flexibility in the system and should be able to meet the customer's needs better. And we should work with the customer to position that. SGI 4030 is priced higher and doesn't offer the graphics performance that we can with the 133 and the PXG graphics or PXG Turbo. The 4D30 is one of the 4D line that's one of the personal iris line that's positioned on top of these products. The 4D25 is positioned in the same price performance range as the personal DEC station. The 4D30 is positioned similar to the 133, and the 4D35 is positioned similar to the 240 DEC station. The HP 720 is priced higher and doesn't offer the expandability or the investment protection. The 720 does offer great price performance, and a lot of people are excited about that, but when you have to be practical about making a buying decision, the 720 is very limited in terms of expandability and doesn't offer the CPU card upgradability to get you into a full 64-bit architecture. We can offer performance upgrades for systems as people need them and give a better longevity to the real application of the system. The DECstation 5240, we're calling the decathlon winner because the 240 does so many things well. And particularly, this is good positioning against the 720, which is pretty limited. HP has no high-speed open bus or high memory capacity for the 720. We offer up to 480 megabytes for the 240, which is great for large simulations or large graphics databases, or if you're using a workstation as a combination workstation and file server, you really want to be able to have that memory expandability. The bus issue with the 720 is that they have a high-speed bus, but it's a proprietary bus. The only thing they offer for it is the graphics option or an adapter to an ESA bus. The 720, you don't even get one ESA bus slot. You have to pay $1,500 for an adapter, and then you get that one ESA bus slot, and you can't go on from there. So you only have one open bus slot. Turbo Channel does outperform ESA bus as well. So we offer a much better option capability there. The SCSI option on the 240 is a full synchronous DMA fast version of a SCSI controller, and this is better than what they offer on the base 720 system. To get a faster speed SCSI option, you have to add the ESA option slot adapter and then add their other SCSI controller. That adds up to $26.95 extra money that you got to spend to expand the 720. The 240 can match the HP 720 in CPU performance with, as we've recently seen with the DR Labs CPU 2 benchmark. It was quite interesting that that version of a CPU benchmark came up to be very close numbers between the 240 and the 720. In terms of comparing it to RS6000, IBM has poor integer performance, or depending on how you want to look at it. When you look at their overall spec mark numbers, they sound like they have great performing workstations, but what it is that Matrix 300 test, again, that's over, pumped up the number, and their overall integer performance is really pretty poor for the price of those workstations. Also, they are not as competitive in multitasking and multi-user benchmarks such as Spec SDM or the AIM benchmark. All of HP, IBM, and SGI's competitors don't offer FDDI or the PrestoServe, which Presto serves as a NFS, Network File Services Accelerator. And we offer those options which really can improve performance depending on what the configuration is the customer needs to satisfy. Sun IPX and Spark Station 2 are lower in performance. They have a slower option bus, and they also have a slower version of their Presto Serve. Their implementation of Presto Serve is out on the S bus, so they have to go through that slower bus. Our Presto Serve is implemented in the main memory, so we have a high-speed access to that Presto Serve option. SGI 4035 has poor price performance and slower graphics options compared to the 240. And the 240 does offer the CPU daughter card upgradability. Particularly the winning feature is being able to go to R4000 full 64-bit architecture and higher performance in the future. I prepared a particular slide to position against the 720 with the 240 because this is asked a lot. The 720 has a lot of press attention, you know, because it has high performance, high price performance. But if you really look at things, you can see that when you try to configure a similar system, a very typical system that somebody might use for a low-end workstation, or a mid-range workstation actually, the 240 with the HX graphics or the 720 with the CRX graphics, 16 megabytes of memory, 19-inch color display, 420 megabytes of disk. You start to add things up for the 720, and you can see that when you add in the open bus, you have to go to another $1,500 to get the one ESA slot in the 720, and you add in the faster SCSI controller so you can get the throughput to the disk. You start looking at disk prices, CD-ROM and hard disk, or the add-in memory prices. We're lower on those prices for the options. So you start to configure a system and things really add up for the 720. Also on 720 quotes, I've seen a couple of quotes where they've had to add in these thick Ethernet tap to be able to get to thick Ethernet and SCSI cables and terminators. Our factory installed software is included as an option. It's no extra charge. It's $75 with the 720. FIGS runtime license we include. They don't include on the 720. They do offer Starr base, but if you want to run the standard graphics with a lot of the applications, you need to buy this FIGS runtime license, another $500. So you total this all up and then look at the spec integer number because, again, the spec marks are misleading. Spec integer is a better indicator of performance at this point. And then you figure out dollars per spec integer, and we win. We beat the 720 here. So this is just one scenario. You can put together different scenarios depending on what your customer needs, and you have to work these numbers and work the options and get the best positioning that you can with against the 720. You shouldn't back away from the 720 in a sales situation. You can do it, and 240 is a good competitor for it. Particularly with graphics options too. The 720 graphics options do not offer good performance or features, and they are high priced. So we have a great offering here that we can compete with the 720. A couple other ways that you can win with the new deck stations too is the turbo channel expander box that we're offering. This is really a neat package, and you need to understand how to make use of this. It expands one of the turbo channel slots out to another box. So it doesn't give you more turbo channel slots. You still only have 3, but you have 2 in your base system, and then you have 1 out in this expander box. And in the expander box, you have enough physical room that you can plug a PXG 2-slot wide board in, or a PXG Turbo, which is a 3-slot wide board, and that frees up the space in the main workstation box. Then you can put in some other options, another SCSI controller into that workstation box. Also in the turbo channel expander box, you can put 2 half-height drives and a removable media. So now with this one expander box, you can put your graphics and you can add your disk drives and your quick tape or floppy and have a complete system rather than having to expand to multiple boxes and limit what you have in your turbo channel slots. It really is a much nicer way to configure a good practical workstation. Another way that you win too is with the Triad program. The Triad program is adding third-party options to the turbo channel slots as well as SCSI, VME adapters and VME options, and in the future, Future Bus Plus will support. The number of turbo channel options that have come along from third parties has really been a very good offering and has matched the competition. We offer a token ring option that currently on the SCSI, there's a token ring adapter that's shipping, but there's a token ring adapter for the turbo channel that'll be out soon, and some other nice features such as IPI disk controller. IPI disk controller has a very high throughput to the disk, and future version will have up to 22 megabytes per second throughput. IPI controller can handle more disk drives than the SCSI controller. So that's a very nice option. These are particularly exciting for our server versions too of the systems. Okay, let's take a particular look at some of the graphics options. The PXG graphics series. We're keeping the PXG graphics as a low-cost version to get into 3D accelerated graphics. So we're lowering the price on that, but we're coming out with the PXG Plus, which is a faster version of the PXG, same type of configurations, and a PXG Turbo Plus, which will replace the old PXG Turbo. The Turbo Plus, again, has a faster geometry accelerator. The PXG Plus and the Turbo Plus have faster 2D and 3D performance than SGI's TurboGrafx. Those are very popular graphics, option from SGI, and here we can beat them in terms of performance and offer them at lower prices. SGI and HP's 3D graphics are both expensive for the same type of functionality. Particularly, HP doesn't offer the display planes and the buffering planes that we offer with our graphics options for the same price points. Sun doesn't offer a very wide range or flexibility in configuring their graphics. They have the GX and GX Plus, which are pretty similar, the GS and GT, and that's it. Their VS, or what is it, VX or VMX visualization system of graphics, they've sold off to a third-party company now. They felt that was a very low-volume niche market at the high end, and they're not involved in it directly. The GS and GT don't have flexibility in terms of being able to go 8-plane or 24-plane by adding in SIM cards, or being able to add in the Z buffer as an option. They're just configured one way. So our PXG is a very flexible system for graphics, the PXG and the PXG Plus. IBM has poor X11 server performance. As we showed before, we did some bake-off demonstrations where we show the two systems running side by side, and they just don't get the throughput through the X11 server software. And again, with the GT series, what they've published are peak numbers and very little information. The picture-level benchmarks from the GPC will be coming out. They're doing some rounds of testing and approval between the different companies, and these will give us a better indication. I expect more people to publish those numbers on more of the graphics options. But I think we really have winning performance and great price performance in the graphics options. Here I've worked up a table to show how we offer best value in 3D, and I show a PXG Plus configuration and competitors' 24-plane graphics options for 3D geometry acceleration, such as doing 3D solids. And these are pretty well configured configurations, 32 megabytes of memory and 420 megabyte disk. Here they're 24-plane systems except for HP Turbo VRX T2. In order to get the display planes, you have to move up to that option, and they call it a 24-plane graphics option, but it's only a 12-plane display and 12-plane double buffering when you use the double buffering. There are only 24 planes there, where we offer 24 planes of display and 24 planes of double buffering. The Personal Iris 4035 with the TurboGrafx option, same situation with the TurboGrafx. Now the competitors' options here do offer overlay planes, but we shouldn't let that turn us away from making a bid. We offer very solid graphics and very solid performance. We offer true 24-plane display, 24-plane double buffering, and 24-plane Z buffer, and that's a great option to get the job done. Other thing to look at here is the refresh rates. The IBM systems and Silicon Graphics here are still only 60 hertz refresh. We've gone up to 72 hertz. And in terms of price points, the people who come closest now is IBM with the GT graphics options. The GT graphics options are very well priced and offer the configuration that we do with the PXG. They can offer 8 or 24 plane version and have the Z buffer as an option. And so they're pretty competitive there, but again, they haven't published all their performance information. The PLB benchmarks from the GPC, the Graphics Performance Committee, are going through their next round of testing, and we expect some new numbers to be out, and a lot more of the graphics options will publish those numbers. So we'll have another comparison to look at graphics, but we really feel we offer good performance based on one of the numbers that IBM published, the 20K polygons per second, where we showed 70K polygons per second with the PXG Plus on the 240. So we're very competitive here in terms of price performance, and we really offer great functionality in 2D acceleration as well as 3D acceleration with our graphics options, and we should win in those situations. A couple of points on the DEC system versions of the systems. Compared to the 9800 series that they've recently come up with is that they don't offer a system under $10,000. We have the DEC system version of the 5025, which gives a very low price point and is really a great server for PC work groups. So you can have this RISC system being the heart of the server for the PC systems, and have Digital's PathWorks services for those PCs or Macintoshes. It's a really nice server. HP has less memory and disk capacity. They don't offer the PrestoServe file acceleration or IPI disk options. And they have higher disk, memory, and license prices. So when you configure up a server, we can really beat them on the configurations. IBM RS6000 Power servers, again, they don't offer a low-end server. They don't have anything under $10,000. They have lower integer, multi-user, and multitasking performance, which we talked about before, and particularly in a file server or a database server, commercial applications, the integer performance is the most important thing, and multi-user, multitasking performance really falls off with the RS6000. We've seen that in name benchmarks and the spec SDM. They have a slower option bus with their MCA compared to our turbo channel, and they don't offer PrestoServe. Now the Sun Spark servers do offer PrestoServe, but their implementation is slower than ours. They're out on the S bus instead of on the main memory channel. Also, the Spark servers only offer a 90-day warranty, where we offer a 1-year warranty. Our 1-year warranty is returned to factory, but I think that's a lot better peace of mind to have that period of time that you know you're covered with your server. And they have less memory and disk expansion on the Sun Spark servers than we do on DEC systems. In terms of software advantages, we are a world leader in multi-vendor integration, and that's something we should keep pushing. HP has been touting their new wave as a overall umbrella and integration of their software, but they don't offer that yet in their Unix systems. They offer it in their MPE-based systems and on their PCs. We have a much more encompassing umbrella with our NAS products. NAS products are multi-architecture as well as multi-vendor. IBM SAA doesn't support AIX or other vendors in their integration architecture. And Sun lacks, again, that multi-architecture support, as well as they don't have one of the key standard supports, XPG3 branding. That's the Exportability Guide version 3. They say they support X, but they don't have that branding and don't offer complete support of that. We're a world leader in OSF1 delivery. We've been delivering OSF1 the longest with our advanced development kit, and now a real end user delivery of OSF1. HP has said that they'll integrate HPUX with the OSF1 kernel. They'll start bringing over some of the HPUX value-added features, but they won't really integrate those until 1993, so they're still a ways off on that. IBM has made a commitment to delivering OSF. At first, they're going to deliver OSF application programming interfaces on their current kernels, and they feel that they'll let the market and customers decide how they get driven to delivering the OSF1 mock kernel. So they're pretty far ways off, I think, from those statements. It's pretty uncertain how they're going to deliver that. They've made a statement, an intention of it, and there's no firm commitment about when they're going to deliver it. Sun is not committed to OSF. The recent announcement by the Unix Systems Labs that they're going to support the OSF APIs that are supported by the ACE initiative really weakens Sun's position there. I expect Sunsoft is really doing some soul searching about how they're going to continue to play in that environment. Digital Pathworks is leading PC and Mac integration. We're very competitive with Novell and a much better offering than the other workstation competitors are offering for integrating PCs and Macs. So again, that DEC system /25 system is a great win for desktop server. Our Fuse, which is our case tools, are easier to use and more integrated. And we also have great service and support, software service and hardware service in support of those. And we can use those as winning advantages against the competition. I hope the information I've been presenting is helpful to you. There are a number of resources that will be available to you as part of the sales kit that's going out, or pointers that will be given in the sales kit or otherwise online. You'll be able to get to files. You can get to customer presentations on each of the products, performance summary that will be available, competitive summary, positioning charts against the competition. And this presentation, a set of slides I'll be making available online as well. You can also go get information by calling the U.S. competitive sales team. They're at 1-800-DEC-IS-IT, and there's some great resources, talented people there. They know how to contact me, and we work together. If you need particular help, we're in a situation that you may not know what the competitor is going to come back at you with. There's really a great lineup of products, and we've worked hard to make a lot of materials available to you. So good luck in selling. And thank you for your time listening to me.
Hello, my name's Chris Atkinson, UK ACE Marketing Manager, and here we are at Uniforum's Open System 91 exhibition at Olympia 2. Let's go on inside and see what's there. In April 1991, Digital, Microsoft and the Santa Cruz operation, together with 18 major computer manufacturers, formed the ACE initiative. Today, ACE has over 250 members, and that membership continues to grow. Inside the show, Digital and ACE are very much in evidence. From every direction, we cannot fail to be reminded of our presence. Indeed, those companies, not already members of ACE, must be feeling a bit left out. At Open Systems 91, we have on show for the first time ever the worlds of Unix and that of Microsoft brought together with ACE. And here we have Windows NT for the first time on a DECstation 5000. Beside it, Windows NT on a PC, followed by Open Desktop on a digital PC, and again for the first time in Europe, Open Desktop on a DECstation 5000. This is Digital's winning hand. Working with Digital at the Open Systems Show, we have some of Digital's key partners in ACE. Let's go and meet with them. The first ever showing of Windows NT running on a DECstation. What does Microsoft feel about that?
I would think it's absolutely remarkable. It's really an example of the close cooperation between Microsoft and Digital, the fact that we're working very closely together to develop Windows NT and make sure that it stays compatible with ARC-compliant systems, such as the DECstation that it's running on today. That's absolutely great.
Now, where does this put IBM with OS2?
That's a very good question, actually, Chris. It's probably one you'd be best to ask of IBM. Really, what's happened with OS2 is that few, if anyone, has accepted the presentation manager interfaces. It didn't matter how hard we worked with IBM to promote OS2, that users weren't prepared to accept a revolution in personal computing. They wanted an evolutionary approach. And in taking the Windows strategy a stage further, clearly this is the approach that users like, and it's one that's left very little room for OS2 on the desktop.
A lot of our customers are in fact common customers. I mean, do you see a situation coming along where Microsoft and Digital will actually be standing up, doing joint presentations to customers and working on an account-by-account basis together?
Oh, absolutely. The whole Team Links announcement is part of a worldwide strategy of collaborating, cooperating, a very credible partnership. We want to work together and to be seen to be working together. So there'll be an awful lot of activity jointly between ourselves and Digital.
Well, Alex, here you are, all the way over from Seattle, from Microsoft's headquarters, with the first ever Windows NT running on a DEC, a first for Digital anywhere in the world.
Absolutely. Thanks to you, Chris, for bringing us all this to happen in Great Britain first.
Okay, now, question. Does Windows NT run DOS?
Absolutely. We can run DOS Windows and directory commands just as if you were just on a DOS machine.
So my Windows NT user's got all his DOS applications there?
Absolutely.
Does it run Windows 3?
It runs Windows 3 with all the standard Windows features and Windows graphic applications.
So any Windows 3 application can run in Windows NT?
Absolutely.
Is it multitasking?
Yes, we have, for the first time, multitasking in the Windows world. As you can see here, all these threads and this wave and this directory are going on in parallel, time sharing the machine neatly.
Amazing. And you can see it's fast.
Absolutely.
So what do you think of Windows NT?
I think it's really a new deal for Digital. And as you can see here, we can win. I think Windows NT is industrial strength operating system with the most familiar graphical user interface in the world running on top of it.
I mean, what's the reaction been like from Digital's customers at seeing Windows NT on the DEC?
I'd say the most characteristic reaction is extreme surprise. One gentleman actually said this was changing the whole rules of the game and he needed to go back to the office and think his whole strategy over again.
Ace, the winning hand for
Absolutely.
Digital. How do you see SCO working with Digital to make Ace a success?
I think at all levels. SCO is working with Digital in terms of engineering the product, specifying the product, bringing it to marketplace, working with Digital to make sure that there are a large application base, and of course, as time goes on, as the product becomes more mature, being a very, very strong customer and partner with SCO for the future.
A recent announcement, which I think surprised a lot of people, was Unix Systems Laboratories joining ACE.
That was really significant. I think that the fact that Unix Systems Laboratories, themselves the inventors of Unix, felt compelled to join the ACE initiative says something about the power of the initiative. Added to that, the fact that they've taken on board a number of conflicting technologies directly from OSF really underlines how important the ACE initiative is to not just manufacturers, but to the market as a whole.
RXI provide the desktop manager, X-Desktop, for SCO's Open Desktop. Can you just tell me a bit about X-Desktop?
Okay, X-Desktop is what we call a desktop manager. It's a piece of software that the user interacts with in order to perform tasks on their computer, run applications, find out what applications are available, simple things like copying files, printing them, throwing them away into the trash can. And it's really a piece of software that means the user doesn't need to know how things are done on their computer. They can be isolated from the mechanism behind the scenes.
So really, X-Desktop just makes Unix really easy to use, is that what you're saying?
That's the idea, yes. And one of the benefits of X-Desktop is because it's an isolating layer from Unix, you can take out visibility of certain features of the system you don't want some users to see, either because it confuses them or because they shouldn't be looking at those features, thereby making their life even easier.
One of the questions that customers will have is, can I make my Unix environment look like my Windows environment? Is that possible?
Yes, that's possible. At the end of the day, there are some differences in the way we supply the product because we're saying you can get advantage out of features in Unix that aren't in Windows. But it's very straightforward to edit a few files to remove some of those features and take it down into Windows. The most interesting thing about this show is that the version of X-Desktop you're showing at this show is more advanced than anybody has in the world.
And here we are on the open desktop side of the ACE stand. Another first for digital. The first time that open desktop's been shown anywhere in Europe on a RISC-based workstation.
That's right. It's most of the interest has come from people actually coming to see whether it looks the same on here as they are used to seeing it on the PCs, the Intel boxes. They're very happy to see that it is indeed identical and runs the same software.
And we've also got the latest version of the Desktop Manager available
Yes,
as well?
this is version 3, which has the latest icons and quite a few new features in terms of configuring the environment for personal use. I'll bring some of those up and we can have a look. The motif windows work in the same way as on any system. We have the normal screen movement, iconizing and restoring, as with any motif window manager. Some of the new features are hidden behind some of these icons. The major interest has been in comparing this with normal Intel implementations, and everyone's happy to find it looks identical.
Okay. So to summarise, open desktop from Santa Cruz operation with Ultrix OSF as the base, running for the first time on digital workstation.
Absolutely.
Andy, from a MIPS perspective, why is ACE going to succeed?
ACE will succeed because MIPS delivers the RISC computing element, and the MIPS RISC is the leading RISC architecture in the world today.
There's also some confusion is the advanced RISC computing spec. Could you just briefly say what that is?
Essentially, the advanced RISC computing spec is a mechanism whereby the hardware design is abstracted from the operating system. What that means is the operating system sees a common view of the hardware. That allows you, the hardware developer, to innovate at the hardware level and yet maintain that abstracted interface to the operating system.
What do you think digital's major strengths are in ACE?
Digital's major strengths are what has made digital successful today. It's a wide service company, it has great experience in networking and quality systems design. And it's those basic strengths, when implemented within the freedom of the ARC specification, but the compatibility and the vast range of software that will bring, that will ensure that digital will be successful. Okay, Chris, we've talked a lot about the MIPS chips today. I thought I'd leave you with this little present before I go.
What is it?
That's an R4000.
That's an R4000. Very impressive. I'll keep it as a souvenir. Thank you, Andy.
A pleasure.
John, everywhere we look at the Open Systems Show, we see ACE adverts all over the place. How's the show going for digital?
I think it's going extremely well, Chris. In fact, we set ourselves a target of probably 175 leads for the first day, which is pretty aggressive compared to previous years. Within the first hour or two of the show, we'd already gone past 200. You say ACE is everywhere, absolutely right. I mean, it's outside the whole of the exhibition hall. Everywhere you walk around, there are ACE advertisements. I was talking to the IBM Open Systems marketing manager today, and she was complaining bitterly that they tried to buy advertising space for their seminars, and they couldn't because we got in first, and ACE is everywhere. I mean, to me, the key thing for the sales force is to say, if you don't believe our commitment to ACE, then just look at all these adverts that are everywhere. And even if you then believe that we're committed, what about your customers? Well, we've been running ACE seminars here this week for the customers, and I can tell you now that at 1:30 today, we had people queuing up on the stand in the hope they'd actually get a spare seat if somebody else didn't turn up. So my message to the sales force is, we're committed to ACE, and they better believe their customers are committed to it too.
My thanks to our friends from Microsoft, SCO and MIPS. I hope what you've seen from this programme is that ACE is a reality. ACE is here now. We have ACE products today.
If I want to give one key message about what ACE is right now, it is the ability for us to continue to sell the products that we have with the absolute guarantee that we've got somewhere to go in future.
It means that for the first time in a long time for DEC salespeople, they will never have to say no. If the customer asks for the best Unix in the market, they will have it. If they ask for the best Windows in the market, they will have it. They can sell it.
Hi, my name is Joe Menard. What I'm going to try to do for you today is explain some of the acronyms that are around the Unix market. By popular demand, people have asked about OSF, they've asked about Ultrix, they've asked about NT, Santa Cruz Operations Open Desktop, and what I want to try to do for you today is make sense of that. And I think the best way to start there is to talk very quickly about the ACE initiative, as that is the focus for all of those acronyms. Now, the ACE initiative, as you all know, we worked on and announced April 9th. It's an initiative where we have Santa Cruz Operations supplying a Unix to the industry, Microsoft supplying the next generation DOS to the industry, and those two operating systems, those two different operating systems, are going to be on both the Intel platform that you know is out there, 90 million of them, and a new platform based on the MIPS RISC architecture. Now, let's talk about the PC side of that, the NT side of that. Right now, Microsoft's selling whatever it is, millions of copies of Windows. Very popular. It's going to be out there forever. NT stands for New Technology, Windows New Technology. It's their new implementation of an operating system to replace DOS and to replace Windows. It's not anything at all like DOS or like Windows, though to a user it will look exactly the same. What's different about it is it's a ground-up design of a new operating system. As such, it's 32 bits, it's multitasking, it has real-time capabilities. It is not a toy operating system any longer. It's a full-function virtual memory operating system. On top of that, there'll be DOS, there'll be Windows. You could almost envision them as personality modules of the operating system to the end user. And with that operating system running on Intel, running on MIPS, we would expect to see an explosion of demand for applications on that platform and for our own MIPS platforms that will meet the ACE specifications for the RISC side, and even our own Intel platforms, which of course already meet the standard for Intel. So that's where Windows NT fits in. It's a new operating system from Microsoft. Now, probably going to be available as a developer's kit in the February timeframe and ship in volume in the late parts of calendar year 1992. That's the PC side. Unix side. Unix side is a joint venture of Digital and Santa Cruz Operation. Now, you all know we have Ultrix today. We would expect that in 1992, the majority of Digital's business will continue to come from Ultrix and will continue to be issuing releases over time, but more focused on hardware support or minimal feature updates, maybe the next revision of the XI system, maybe integrate Motif. But Ultrix will continue on being the mainstay of our business in 1992, probably will continue to 93, 94, because we don't want to force any customer to move away from it. But our real focus is going to move to OSF1. Now, you know we were founding members of the Open Software Foundation. You know our strategy is OSF1, has been OSF1, and our plan all along, even 18 or 24 months ago, was to move from Ultrix to OSF1. Well, the good news is that's exactly the strategy we still have. The unique additional piece is that we are working with Santa Cruz Operation to deliver that as the Unix offering of the ACE initiative. Now, how are we doing that? Exactly the same work we were doing to develop OSF1 for our own platforms is continuing. And what we are doing, actually the majority of that work we are doing, we're handing that off to Santa Cruz Operation. They are going to make that available to other ACE initiative partners. They are going to make that available by porting it to Intel on the PC platform. So the ACE Unix offering will be based on OSF1. Some of the confusion that comes into the market, Santa Cruz Operation today has an offering called ODT, or Open Desktop. Now that's the offering that they've sold on Intel. They've been wildly successful. I think they have sold 300,000 or 400,000 copies of it. What's going to happen is that's going to migrate into this single offering based on OSF1. And that OSF1 offering that we're working on in conjunction with them is going to have SCO compatibility built in. It is going to have Ultrix compatibility built in. We already have proven that many applications move across without a recompile and run, and we're working to make that even better. We also want to have source code compatibility so applications can just recompile and run. And for System 5 users, we want to have System 5 Release 4 compatibility built onto this as well. Here I go with more acronyms. System 5 Release 4 is the Unix offering that comes from AT&T. Now, the division of AT&T, to make the acronyms even more busy, is Unix Systems Laboratories. And they are basically the other Unix on the market. It's evolving to, there's OSF1 coming from ourselves and SCO for the ACE initiative, coming from HP sometime soon. They're working on that. Coming from IBM sometime soon. They're already offering it on their mainframes. And then the System 5 camp that Sun is the major vendor you'd know of, but also some other vendors as well. So that's what you have in the market for acronyms and for operating systems. One of the unique things around our strategy is that we can put that OSF1 on our MIPS platforms, and those platforms will become ARC compliant over time. ARC stands for Advanced RISC Computing Specification. That's the specification for the MIPS system that's part of the ACE initiative. We also will have them on the Intel platform because Santa Cruz is putting them on the Intel platform. And as a third thrust, since we have a very high performance chip in Alpha, and since we are doing the majority of the work on OSF1, we also plan to put that operating system from Intel to MIPS to Alpha, and it will be exactly the same operating system across the three, so that for our ISVs, it's just a recompile and run. For our end users, it's a recompile and run. And for anyone using these systems, they will interoperate seamlessly. In fact, the user won't even know which architecture they're on because they will look like exactly the same operating system. Now, I talked about Unix Systems Laboratories. One of the other confusing factors perhaps in the market today is that USL decided that System 5 Release 4 would be useful on the ACE platform. They saw ACE taking off. 20 companies April 9th, 50 companies in June, 200 companies by the end of September. They saw this initiative driving forward and basically saw a business opportunity. So they decided that in addition to the Unix that we are working on with Santa Cruz operation, they were going to put System 5 Release 4 on the MIPS platform independent of ACE. Now, what we did, instead of just letting that happen, is we 1+ that, because if that had happened, it would have been two completely different Unix offerings, would not have flown well with customers or ISVs. So what we did is we worked within the OSF specifications with AT&T, with USL, and got them to adopt OSF's distributed computing environment, Motif, the Open Software Foundation's application environment specification. Again, here we go with these acronyms, but that's the overall specification for the OSF1 operating system. And we got AT&T to agree for on System 5 Release 4 to put those interfaces. The net of this is that across the operating systems there's one set of common interfaces. So for an end user, for an ISV, if they code to those interfaces, it's a recompile and run across System 5 Release 4, across OSF1. So to a large degree, what we've done in the industry, as you watch this ACE chess game happen and all the other consortia of the month pop up, is we've taken 200 Unixes, brought it down to 2, basically, OSF1 rolling out next year and System 5 Release 4 in actuality just starting to roll out, and merged them even further to less than 2, in fact, even though they're 2 separate kernels, to have common interfaces across the 2 so that to most users, to most ISVs, they will be indistinguishable. So how does all that fit into our Unix strategy? We, as I said from the start, have been committed to OSF1. We all along plan to move Ultrix to OSF1. We continue to work on that. We, with the ACE initiative, have developed a partnership with Santa Cruz operation to have that offering put onto MIPS platforms, onto Intel platforms. Santa Cruz operation is going to migrate their open desktop offering to this one based on OSF1, bringing along ODT compatibility. And beyond those 2 platforms, we're going to put that exact same operating system on Alpha. And beyond that, the interfaces that will be present across that operating system, we have gotten AT&T to agree to those interfaces on System 5 Release 4. So a lot of acronyms. A lot of machinations in the industry to evolve to this process. I think what it does for a customer is it provides them with a lot more flexibility on platforms. They're going to have a wide range of MIPS platforms to choose from, very price competitive. They already have that with the Intel platform. We'll be able to supply them a very high performance platform with Alpha, and the net of it is that they'll have the choice to pick their applications, because there'll be all sorts of applications on these platforms. The choice of vendor, because they don't have to buy from us. They can buy from Compaq, they could buy from Silicon Graphics, NEC. And in the end, what they'll get is a model very similar to the PC model, where they'll have no vendor lock-in. They can buy from anybody, and the ultimate net is their cost of computing will be much, much lower, and they'll get a lot more bang for the buck. So in a quick snapshot, that's the acronyms, that's our Unix strategy, that's the NT strategy, and it really does provide a strong benefit for our customers. So, thanks.
Hi, I'm Frank Kettenstock, and I'm a competitive analyst for Ultrix Marketing. I'm here today to talk about Sunsoft Solaris and give recommendations for strategies that you may employ when encountering Solaris in a competitive situation. First, a quick summary of what Solaris is. It is a bundle of Sun's main software technologies, which are Sun OS, Open Network Computing, OpenLook and Open Windows, and DeskSet, which are Sun's productivity tools. Solaris 1.0 is not made up of any new technologies and is available today with a Berkeley-based kernel. Solaris 2.0 will be available around July '92 with a System 5-based kernel and will run on both SPARC and Intel-based platforms. The following are 5 things to remember when encountering Solaris in your account. 1. Sun is misleading customers into thinking that Solaris 2.0, the environment with the System 5 kernel, is here today on SPARC and Intel. As mentioned before, it will not be available until the July 1992 timeframe, which is the same general timeframe as our OSF1-based operating system. Use this fact against Sun's "We Have It Today" slogan. 2. Stress digital support of the OSF technologies, specifically Motif, DCE, and DME. These technologies have industry-wide support. In fact, even USL has agreed to support them. This positions Sun further and further away from the mainstream of computing. This is not an open strategy and shows Sun is becoming more and more proprietary. 3. Stress that Sun has changed their all the wood behind one arrowhead strategy by now embracing Intel PCs. They abandoned their Motorola and Intel architectures and told customers that SPARC was all they needed. Sun has tried to replace PCs for years and has even poked fun at PCs. Now they have radically changed their strategy, but it comes at a time long after the rest of the industry. 4. Turn the tables on Sun over the byte ordering issue. Sun has said for years that the difference between big and little byte ordering was a reason to buy SPARC over digital. Now that they are embracing PCs, which are little Indian, like DEC stations, use their argument to show how difficult it is to integrate Solaris and SPARC into the Intel environment. 5. Sunsoft acquired Interactive Systems to develop the Solaris on Intel software. This brings up some interesting points. Since there are 2 very different groups developing Solaris on the different platforms, there exists a great potential that incompatibilities between the 2 products will exist. After time goes by, will they evolve into 2 very different products? Also, Interactive supports the Intel binary compatibility specification. Solaris on SPARC does not. Next time you encounter Sun in your account, remember those 5 points. Thank you, and good luck.